Well, the New South Wales Corruption Commission has been exposing dealings between politicians, lobbyists and business figures. Across the border in Queensland, the spot is turning squarely on that state's corruption watchdog. One of Queensland's most senior corruption fighters is warning the changes to the Crime and Misconduct Commission are set to muzzle the body and ensure it will not embarrass the state government. Drummond QC is a former federal court judge, CMC Commissioner, and he was the special prosecutor brought in following Queensland's landmark Fitzgerald inquiry. He spoke exclusively to our reporter, Mark Willesee.
He was the special prosecutor brought in to follow up the Fitzgerald inquiry. Drummond QC helped put away 150 key players in Queensland's underworld of corruption, among them the former Transport Minister Don Lane and the disgraced Police Commissioner Terry Lewis. But the most lasting legacy of the Fitzgerald inquiry and the prosecutions that followed was the establishment of Queensland's anti-corruption watchdog. A quarter of a century on, Drummond believes it's facing its greatest threat.
The only point in having a corruption watchdog over government and the public sector and behaviour that interacts with the public sector is that it must be independent of government control. I think we've lost that.
Under the Newman government's changes, the state's watchdog has been rebadged as the Crime and Corruption Commission. More controversially, though, its chairman will be picked by the government of the day, with the opposition's support for the appointment no longer needed. And the chairman will now have extraordinary powers, able to determine if a corruption complaint is investigated, even wielding the authority to terminate ongoing investigations.
I can't see how you can avoid the conclusion that whoever is appointed will be seen by many Queenslanders as politically tainted. Which leads to a pretty obvious conclusion that there's a serious attempt underway to make sure the CCC doesn't embarrass the government. That's my view.
The key reforms coming out of the Fitzgerald report was the creation of the CMC.
Corporate governance specialist and former CMC Commissioner David Gow warns the new corruption watchdog will be reduced to a one-man band, with the government's hand-picked appointee answering to no one.
As a consequence of that, it really centres power in the chairman and renders the commission to be really either a debating society, if you like, or simply a group picture for the annual report.
The Newman government has already been embroiled in scandal over the man it appointed as acting chairman. Ken Levy is being investigated by the police over allegations he misled the parliamentary committee overseeing the commission. It all started when Dr Levy wrote a newspaper article backing the government's controversial anti-bikie laws. He was then caught out, denying that the Premier's media advisor had coached him on what to write. Despite this scandal, the government has legislated to extend Dr Levy's term for another 6 months.
Dr Levy episode suggests to me is that here we've got a government who will behave with complete ruthlessness when its perceived interests are at stake or challenged.
The recent high-profile political scalps claimed by ICAC in New South Wales have highlighted the importance of an independent watchdog. There are fears that Queensland is turning its commission into a political lapdog, with little or no powers to investigate New South Wales-style corruption, like that involving politicians, developers and big money.
Developers always seek to develop relationships with councils, etc., and the opportunities give rise to the possibilities of big dollars and hence to the possibility of corruption.
Under the changes, the new Crime and Corruption Commission will need approval from the Attorney-General to undertake research programs, and that includes research into sensitive subjects such as political donations.
The mere fact that the Attorney has control over the research program will have a chilling effect on what might be called an aggressive or innovative research program.
It's quite obviously not intended to encourage corruption, but it's equally clearly intended not to impede the government in its many activities, including its fundraising activities.
In a statement to Lateline, Queensland's Attorney-General Jared Blay said the new Crime and Corruption Commission would relentlessly investigate and prosecute any corrupt activities. Mark Willesee, Lateline.